If you follow the consensus around JJ McCarthy, you'd believe he's an ultra game manager that helped Michigan chug along to a title by playing steady take what the defense gives you football. However, the tape tells an entirely different story. One of a big-armed athlete whose erraticism created splash plays, but also consistently held the offense back with missed layups. Let's break up all this McCarthyism and bring you the truth behind the Wolverine. With the rocket attached to his right shoulder, JJ passes the NFL arm test with flying colors, able to attack any spot on the field. Facing Iowa in the Big Ten Championship, McCarthy is able to attack the off coverage with timing and arm strength. Cornelius Johnson runs a nice out route, and McCarthy matches it with the throw, slinging this cross hashes on a line with good timing for the first down. The speed of the gun allows him to attack quickly to the flat, even to the wide side of the field, an area he'll be called upon to attack with consistency under the NFL's current meta. McCarthy notices the cover 3 drop and fires fast to his motion hitch before anyone can get close. This arm also helps stretch the field vertically, with McCarthy lacking no strength to push the ball downfield. Out of the pistol here, McCarthy's eyes are deep, spying the safeties, and with 28 staying too shallow and Wilson having the other beat for leverage, he launches long and into the bucket of his favorite target. When it comes to attacking inside, the velocity with which he throws can access windows that are otherwise closed, and bail him out of some otherwise questionable attempts. Off the play action, JJ has an open hitch but is a beat late. No problem, as the arm beats the dropping defender and closing hook curl, putting it right on his man for the first. And again, off the play action, McCarthy pulls off an outrageous snipe. The guard will pull to sell the run and make the underneath level step up, opening a window to the tight end on the crosser. McCarthy is late to it and the safety is attached, but the arm has everyone beat, slicing this between 4 sets of outstretched hands to find his man. Where the game manager label definitely holds true is in the quick game, where the gun and alert eyes allow McCarthy to attack underneath. With just a single defender operating in off coverage on the boundary here, McCarthy knows there's easy yards to steal with a good throw. Taking just a one-step drop, he's throwing as his man makes the cut, diming this to a spot only his guy can get. Against Maryland, McCarthy has a good read on the defense, again able to attack quickly underneath. While it could be one man, the positioning post-snap immediately tells JJ it's cover 3, and he knows he has a numbers advantage to the trip side. With the corner dropping, this hitch on the boundary is always open early, and he's got the arm to get it out there quickly. It wasn't all attacking to the boundary either. McCarthy would spy the zone drop and attack the middle if open. Here, the linebacker fakes as if he's man-matched with Wilson, but it's actually cover 3 with the backer pushing wide and the safety rolling down to take the hook curl. JJ spots that the motions force the coverage to spread out early, winding up while the curl is still covered. And here it is with progressions. UW crashes down to take away the curl flat, so McCarthy works to the middle curl, finding the open gap and receiver. Progressing downfield, McCarthy's reads become more mixed, but there are some good signs, reading coverage shifts and throwing to the open spot. More motion helps McCarthy read the true man coverage here, and good eyes get him to the right read. JJ checks inside to see what zones lurk, seeing a robber take away the drag, and a single high sitting deep, but definitely too far to affect the dig, firing fast to AJ Barner to move the chains. Man-attached coverages have made it harder and harder for QBs to read defenses, but McCarthy beats this one with great timing and placement. Nobody follows Barner on the motion, shuffling over the man coverage, but this leaves the Mike having to cover Colston Loveland, a clear speed mismatch. With the X-receiver's drag also taking away the safety, JJ knows he can fire early, slinging a sizzler in for the score. McCarthy's progression work sails a similar boat to his reading. There are flashes of great work picking apart well-played coverages, but his eyes must become faster and get through these with better consistency. This is a nice rep against Purdue, where JJ gets to his third read to create a chunk play. Initially reading the boundary side, McCarthy quickly spots the triangle coverage has swallowed shut the pseudo smash, working back to his double digs on the far side. The safety attaches to Johnson on the first one, so McCarthy works to Wilson on the second, firing fast to exploit the space. Running mesh against Michigan State, JJ is aware early this is zone, but is going to look to his solo matchup outside to see if the one-on-one matchup gets busted. The corner drops deep, taking this away, and McCarthy knows the meshing drags are already sacrificed to the zones, so steps up and gets his eyes to the middle, firing straight to the curl sat in the soft zone. And when defenses dropped back to shut off any chance deep, McCarthy was more than willing to take the check down, showing good maturity to dump the ball off. One thing I'll absolutely back this man on is his bravery. He's never afraid to take a hit, willing to stand or slide amongst pressure to try to make a play. Here against Ohio State on third down, they're running a mesh concept, where pressure will immediately interrupt the play through the A-gap. Knowing it's a crucial third down, McCarthy stands tall amongst the rush and dimes it to his drag. And although it's ultimately short of the sticks, this is great bravery when it matters. And here's a nice slide amongst a chaotic pocket to make a big play. Stay executes a perfect TE stunt and creates a free rusher up the middle, but McCarthy stunts on him, making him tackle air, and the pressure doesn't make his eyes drop, keeping them up and working through the pocket, finding his wideout open for the score. When you see a big white boy who's been labeled a game manager, you don't expect him to be as athletic as this. An incredibly fluid athlete, McCarthy has wheels to extend and moves to make a man miss when in open space. Here against Indiana, the slot blitz is going to come unblocked on McCarthy's blind side, but he shows a sixth sense to avoid it, shifting up to send the rusher flying by, then escaping out left. The pressure is coming to hunt as a pack, and McCarthy goes to his bag of tricks, finding his receiver with a flick pass to convert the downs. And I'm not allowed to play you this one on YouTube because the SEC aren't fans of us using their tape, but he made an absolutely outrageous play against Alabama. Patreon.com/thinkingfootball if you want to go watch it. Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors video is dropping soon. This fluidity and athleticism means when the coverage backs off, McCarthy can attack the space provided with efficiency. Michigan State sends a six-man pressure, but this forces man coverage on the back end, and if the QB escapes, a lot of space to run. The twist creates a free man, but JJ slips past him and out of the arm tackle, jukes out the second backer, and then heads out right, cutting upfield to attack an opening to the first. This time it's zone, but with the Mike choosing to double Wilson, the middle of the field is going to be vacated. McCarthy hangs in the pocket to try to find a receiving threat, but with no one open and pressure finding its way, backs himself, making a man miss with the angle, then finding the space on the sideline for extra yards. And here, on a big third down late in the natty, JJ has to call his own number again. UW does a great job to lock everything up and pressure gets there early, but JJ calmly steps up and through, then turns on the Jets, getting the first and plenty more as he splits the tacklers. The wheels continue into design runs, where Michigan attack defenses with McCarthy's legs once more. Down on the goal line is a great place to use it, and McCarthy shows us the skills on this read option. His speed is deceptive, and he's able to force the safety into a bad angle, then has eyes on the pylon. The receiver loses his block eventually, and McCarthy has a man in his way, but says, "I'm bigger than any damn corner," dropping his shoulder, then diving for 6. And further back in the red area, Michigan calls a power keeper for him, in which he displays good runner's vision. Behind his blocks early, McCarthy spots a gap, putting his foot in the turf and cutting north into a green grass highway to the end zone. So there's some good tools on display, but unfortunately, there are just too many holes in McCarthy's game for me to consider him anything but a project, and certainly have me questioning those who see him as a potential first-round pick. Firstly, while he might be able to gun it to any gap, his placement is in purgatory. McCarthy regularly misses chunk shots to carve open a coverage, as well as layups to keep the chains churning, throwing far too flat or behind his man. On the very first play of the game against Ohio State, they've got a quick concept dialed up that he straight whiffs. Wilson is going to come in motion to help with intel, and with the corner sitting off versus the out, JJ knows this is a free start to the game. Yet even with pretty good mechanics, just puts this straight in the dirt. When McCarthy did find receivers, he was often throwing a very uncatchable ball, forcing contortions or acrobatics on what should be routine pitches and catches. The coverage opens nicely to the tight end's motion curl, yet McCarthy beams this wide, forcing Loveland to have to go one-handed and allowing the corner into the play to break it up. This radar location issue meant the arm strength was often ineffective downfield, with McCarthy struggling to consistently put air under the ball. He throws a very flat ball, not allowing his receivers to read the flight, and without the extra elevation, the ball would often fall short. And this is by far his biggest problem in his accuracy, how often he throws behind his man. To be a successful NFL quarterback, you've got to be able to hit your man in stride and let him make the play. As Joe Montana used to say, I don't throw darts at balloons, I throw balloons at darts. But too often, even on routine routes, McCarthy is making his receivers' lives difficult, forcing them to turn to adjust. Wilson's got to speed out to the boundary here, and if McCarthy places this to the correct location, there's nothing this coverage can do. But the ball's on Wilson's back hip, allowing the defender into the play to break it up. And if you're behind to the wide side of the field, where there can be even worse consequences. The outs open against TCU, but McCarthy is way behind on the throw, leaving this 5 yards short of its desired location. And it's going the other way. You best believe with the speed of NFL cornerbacks that if he keeps doing this at the pro level, he's going to have real problems. It's not just to the boundaries where JJ raises the difficulty level for his playmakers, but the whole field. Across the middle, receivers are constantly turning to catch balls on their back hip or adjusting low to pulling one at their knees. He's got Wilson wide open here on the over route, but from a completely clean pocket, this is at his knees, and behind, forcing Roman to break stride and drop what should be a good catch and run. Wilson's again got his man cooked on the slot fade here against Michigan State, and if JJ can just lay this out, he's got a field flipper. But it's multiple yards of pace short, and the corner makes a terrific play through the hands when Wilson slows to catch it. If he was just missing throws due to accuracy, maybe I could just chalk it up to a need for tighter mechanics, but his misses also came as a function of poor reading, and he left an awful lot of yards on the field. Here's a pretty staple play you see, with one side running clear out routes for a shallow cross coming from the other side. And Michigan creates a lot of space and an easy throw by running this from a tight bunch look. But McCarthy straight up doesn't throw it, instead calling his own number and running from a clean pocket. And because this is college, he makes a mockery of the defense. But this won't fly in the NFL. Against Michigan State, a poor read of the safeties misses a chance for a shot play. Running the deep over with the post, Michigan are going to put the safeties in a predicament. If they swap the routes, then Wilson will be open on the over as the field safety is far too back on the post. But if they chase, well, the leverage is lost and the post is open. They choose to chase and attach, but McCarthy picks the wrong option, again throwing this behind his man, allowing the safety to make a play. And sometimes, it just looks like he's premeditating where he's going with the ball. TCU had been sending a lot of 5-man pressures in this game, but here play man and leave the 2 backers as robbers. But it looks like McCarthy chose pre-snap he was going to the in route, waiting for the cut, then just firing it straight at the lurking backer. And yeah, that's going back the other way too. His poor reading is magnified by his lack of anticipation. McCarthy way too often requires the receiver to come open before he will release. And this see it throw it approach just doesn't fly at the next level. A long third down in the red area is a hard throw for a QB and often requires anticipation to beat the coverage. And JJ has a chance to do just that here. Barner is going to come open for a brief window on the dig, but McCarthy has to wait to see it come open before he'll release. And this gives time for the safety to crash in and break it up. Throw this at the cut and it's a completion. Any later and your receiver is going to take a shot for nothing. Again, there's no anticipation on this post route, and here on the long third, throwing this early would create the catch and run that might get them close. But he's once again waiting to confirm what he sees, allowing the defender back into the play to tip this incomplete. And here against Bowling Green, he's got to anticipate this crosser coming open to the back of the end zone, but waits until his eyes confirm it. And that's just way too late as a hanging defender jumps it for the pick. Anticipation is my most treasured trait in quarterbacks, so to see this lack of feel outside of the occasional boundary ball is pretty concerning. And the problems aren't finished. For someone labeled a game manager, his progression work is also incredibly patchy. He's usually able to get from first to second read on a concept, but ask him to get to his third and fourth, and you start to see slow eyes or even the dreaded early tuck and run. In trips here against Wisconsin, he first gets his eyes to his double move and tries to pump fake the corner, but with that failing, works to his over route from the inside slot. Seeing the safety attached to this, he should know to work to his seam route that's coming wide open for the score. But McCarthy doesn't look, first jittering in the pocket before half rolling right and then finally getting to it. He's got a cannon and Wilson bails him out with a spectacular catch. Sometimes his eyes are just all over the place and he seemed panicked. He first looks to the trip side, but quickly spots the poor numbers and works back to the near side. His tight end is going to come wide open thanks to a busted coverage, but McCarthy never sees it, flicking his eyes away too early and bailing the empty pocket. He finally notices him once he's got wide and then tries a horrific force to him, and it's frankly a miracle that this isn't picked. After a review of the tape, I'm just not convinced this is a franchise guy. The arm and athleticism are there, and there's splashes that will no doubt appear at the NFL level too, but the accuracy, consistency, and mental aspect of the game just don't seem developed enough to be a big-time quarterback. How a player turns out is in large part due to the coaching they receive, and that holds even more true for the QB position. So it's not impossible that JJ turns into an NFL starter, but he wouldn't be the bet I'd place my chips on. QB scarcity means we'll hear his name early on day 1, but if it was up to me, it wouldn't be until late day 2.